Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Simulationist podcast. We are recording number 124 on iteration number 124 on the 17th of January, 2015.
Yeah, I still want to say 2014. I mean, we're almost 3 weeks into it, and I'm still going 2014 in my head.
Yeah. What I do is I get it right for most of January, and then in February I'm like, oh, I can relax. And then in February I start.
Well, I'm usually better when it comes to something like a ending with a 5 or a 0, because it's like, okay, 2015, this is where I'm going to start making some mental milestone marks, and that way I can compare it, like, how far back was this? How far back was that? Because it's like the half decade.
Actually, yeah, we've wasted half this decade. What have you done in the last 5 years?
Started to raise a daughter. Got married. I'm actually doing pretty good this decade. This decade is the decade of Ryan Kirkby, co-host extraordinaire.
All right. Well, that's... Oh, yeah, and there's your name. There's introducing that
subtle name dropping. Just one of my many, many good talents.
Well, no, it's important that the listeners know who we are. So this person here talking now is me. It is Josh Trelevin.
Host Prime.
I guess, yeah, like the guy who does the introduction.
You got the first line on every iteration. That's your thing.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, I mean, like, what's things been like for you this week, Josh?
What things been like? Well, we did improv class today.
Ah, yes, how'd that go?
I did improv class. I'm still bad at improv.
I don't think anybody's inherently good at improv.
Well,
the person who's good at improv is the person I fear.
I'm trying to crack it. Well, I would love to be somebody that everybody feared because I was good at improv.
Well, the person that gets the concept of improv naturally is a person that's either got so much going on in their brain that it seems like random, or they can just pick things up, they do it all, or that's a person who's trying way, way too hard at picking up randomness.
Yeah.
Either which way, keep an eye on that sort of person.
Because with improv, there's no, you can sort of learn little tips and tricks, or do this, don't do that, but there's no, literally by definition, you're not allowed to plan ahead. You're not allowed to write something out and say, okay, I'm going to say this, this, and this. So you're not allowed to do that work that you want to put into it.
I will say, though, even some of the best of them do a little bit of work. I know almost for a fact that Whose Line Is It Anyways, when they're doing their newscast stuff, there's no way Colin Mockery was coming up with those names out of nowhere, just on the spot.
Maybe, I don't know, yeah.
It'd be something like he's sitting down, afterwards he's at the bar sort of thing, just nursing like a gin and tonic, just nice and relaxing, all of a sudden, bam, names enter his head, and he, files that away next time. Next time he's got to do the news report. Those names, put them there, okay. If it happens, it happens. He didn't sit down to write it. He didn't have a piece of paper, doing doodle notes or anything like that. It's just something that popped in his head, and then, okay, I'll use that one when the time comes at the show.
Well, maybe. It's probably the fact that anything you can add into your brain and sort of store it there for future reference and retrieval, that's probably useful. But at the same time, improv is all about accessing the stuff you already have for whatever reason. So it's possible, sometimes you might just recite other things you've memorized. And you just happen to know a bunch of all the names of presidents or something like that, and those just casually get dropped in. If you need the name of a random country, like Kyrgyzstan. It helps if you've sort of done the game where you sort of try and name all the countries.
Or just spend some time looking at a globe. I mean, let's face it, we've all done that when we were younger. It spins, and it's got a lot of colors, and you get a chance to look at all sorts of things, and the mountains are bumped on this one. Ooh.
Yeah. So improv. I was going to say, what I've learned about myself is today I played 2 different characters who were students. And I was thinking, that's probably, I wonder if that's something showing through of me. Because when I go in there, my attitude is, okay, I am here to learn, I'm here to absorb, I'm here to ask questions. And in improv, there's sort of a rule. It's not exactly a guideline, but you're not supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to say, oh, what happened to you this morning? You're improving with a partner. You're not supposed to say, oh, what happened to you this morning? You look terrible. You're supposed to give them that story, like, you look like you've been hit by a bus this morning. You look like you narrowly.
What's with all the twigs in your hair?
What's with it? That's better. But still, what's with is saying like, okay, now let me see.
It's a little bit more of a narrow focus, but it's still the question.
You can ask the question, but it's not. You don't say what's with the twigs in your hair. Oh, okay. Here's what you do. You say, what's with the twigs in your hair? Did you have an encounter with a mad tree monster or something this morning?
I was just going to say, running from dogs in the park, but okay, we'll go with the tree monster.
Okay, just whatever you think of, you can ask that question. Like, did this happen to you? Did you get attacked by a crazy man in the woods? And then they can say, as a matter of fact, I did. And they can add to it. That's the yes. That's how it works.
Very interesting.
So you have to, when you ask a question, you have to be giving something with that question.
So it can't just be that open-ended. You got to give them a ball. You got to throw a ball to them, and they got to take it.
Exactly. Yeah. And the short version of the rule is no questions, even though it's not exactly no questions. But yeah.
I don't think there's a single person that can properly, construct any sort of dialogue without having at least questions seep in.
Well,
you just have to try and avoid the open ones.
Well, that's another game that you can play if you're doing improv sports. You can play the all questions game.
I do like that one.
Everything is in the form of a question, or you can play the absolutely definitely no. You can do either of those 2 rules and sort of see what happens and just experiment.
Does it count as being a game if you're just trying to avoid your parents and answering a question?
Well, I mean, if that's the scene, you mean?
No, if that's real life. Does
life?
it count as having played it as a game if you're trying to avoid answering your parents?
I mean, I guess you can be playing a game that other people aren't in on, so it's possible.
I'm just saying there have been times, whereby, parent asks a question and I evade the answer by responding with a question.
Yeah.
In which case we're playing question tennis, as I always like to term it mentally. You got to lob the question tennis ball back and forth, and whoever messes up actually has to give an answer.
Well, and kids do that, and politicians do that, and like.
Oh boy, do politicians do that! It is sometimes the most fun of listening to them on the radio when I'm driving somewhere is just to see if they're going to answer anything or if they're just going to give another line.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, the characters that
there is somebody who could really use some improv lessons.
Some politicians.
All they seem to give is line after line after line. It'd be nice to see them do a little improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot deny it now that it's in your head, can you? It's like, yes, I can totally see where they would benefit.
Yeah, well, I think they would, and like we've had Dave Morris on the show before, my teacher there, and that's one of the things that he sort of teaches, I guess, or is that improv is applicable in almost every other place in the world, like every other profession, sort of, you can lean on improv somehow. And what I was saying about my student characters is I was thinking, well, maybe those are too much like me. So it's like my characters are like, oh, what are we doing now? Like to the other person. And that's fine. That's allowed to, offer that, okay, so I'm giving you your character, I'm offering you're the teacher now. Except that now they have to do that work of being like, oh, okay, what do I teach you? So I was thinking that's I don't know. That's my note to myself, I guess.
Well, I guess it really depends on
students.
How does it depend on how your definition of yourself goes? If you see yourself as a student, then yes, that is clearly being too close to you. But if you don't define who you are by being a student, then it's okay to wind up being a student twice in a row.
Yeah, I get, and it was two different. One was a student of feng shui, and the other one is a student of dancing. So pretty different things to be like. But still, yeah, I feel like that's something that was what I came up. That just happened this afternoon, just before recording this podcast.
Which is not to say that it's a bad thing to be a student. One of the best skit scenes I can recall involved like Taekwondo Leap students, and I'm not sure if you know this. Does the name Ed Gruberman ring any bells to you?
No.
Oh, you should look up the Frantics then. It's the name of the skit, I believe, is just Taekwondo Leap, where there's a master who's teaching first-time students on the martial technique of Taekwondo Leap. But first they start with meditation. You got to center yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And a guy, Ed Gruberman, comes up and he's like, "When do I get to kick some ass?" And he's like, "Taekwondo Leap is a journey, not a destination." So like what? We're gonna meditate for an hour and then I get to kick some ass. And and then it all winds up being that the only move they ever really reference, because it's something that's on verbal sort of thing. So I suppose you can find it over on YouTube. They've done animations for it, but it was originally you play the record, the old LPs, because that's how old it is. That's how old I am. I'm referencing comedy LPs here. The only martial art they ever do is called boot to the head. And it just winds up being that, the various interactions between, the student who wants to do it, the impatient, I want some results, versus the master of just settle down and learn the basics, and get yourself centered. So, I mean, that all came from, just the fact that there were so many students and a master in a scene. It worked.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, boot to the head. I mean, like, if you ever get a chance to, be in a fight and you get an opportunity to kick somebody, you'll scream out boot to the head, man.
Oh, okay, scream, yeah.
Boot to the head, whack!
Just don't actually kick them, just scream that, and there.
Well, if you're in the fight and you're going to wind up kicking somebody, you might as well get style points for it. Boot to the head, boof.
Yeah, you got to narrate your combats, yeah.
I mean, it works well for the movies. And
you should narrate your combats as if you're playing D&D, like, I'm rolling in 20.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, here, at work we had a note on the board. It was for, hey, remember, first in, first out, because you want to use the product that's the oldest before it winds up getting too old and you have to throw it out, right? Reduce waste. Except the person wrote it in a real hurry and they forgot the letter R. So it became fist in, fist out. And that seemed really kind of crude until I pointed out that could be the most scientific martial discipline anyone has ever encountered. It's fist in, fist out. One hit. That's all it's about, man.
Speaking of your work, actually, I wanted to shout out my my bus driver. I know this is weird, but
okay, no, it's okay.
My bus driver on the way over here, his name is like Ronaldo? No,
Ronaldo.
That can't be right. But anyways,
we shall call him Ronaldo because it's a good name.
I wanted to shout him up because you know how at work you sometimes do like a little, you be funny and you do like a little.
I do try and deliver a quality performance for the customers. If I'm not the fastest, then I am at least the most entertaining, and nobody minds the extra minute it took to be served by me.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to, my bus driver was doing a comedy routine, like he's like, you know how the airline pilots sometimes used to do that? Or
yes,
sure
yes.
They still do, yeah.
Yeah. Especially WestJet, I've been told that's encouraged amongst them.
Yeah.
Keeps people at ease, right?
I don't know who comes up with the idea that we're all going to do this, guys, we're all going to be funny, but, because sometimes it's like, isn't that neat that they have a quirky pilot who happens to have a quirky personality, as opposed to just all the pilots must be funny.
That's the thing. I really hope most companies understand funny isn't something you can try and force.
Yeah.
Funny has to flow like a river. At least in my mind, funny is it's equivalent to like a state of zen. When you're in it, anything you say and do will be funny. When you're out of it, nothing is funny. No matter how good your line, no matter how good your timing, if you're not in flow with the comedy, it's not going to get laughs.
So I want a shout out to my bus driver, Ronaldo. That's not his real name, but he...
Names have been changed to protect the innocent.
If I remembered his name, I would say it. 'Cause but yeah, he did the whole, like, ladies and gentlemen, if you look out your left side of your window, you'll see Johnson Street going by, and we'll be at our next stop in 2 minutes. You know, sort of the whole airline pilot, except he's a bus.
But you know what? That works too, because it has a nice educational benefit. Because like when you're on the bus system, you might not be. I've been riding this bus for 10 years. You might be. I'm here to visit family and all that. I have really no idea where I'm going. I got a list for instructions as to where I'm supposed to be. Okay, it says past Johnson Street. Oh, he said Johnson Street's just going by left. Okay, I'm in the right bus. I'm going the right direction. Stress levels down.
I totally agree. I think it's a very good thing for a multiple number of reasons, not just because, a little bit of entertainment comedy on the bus. I think it actually helps people, bumped the mic, and then called attention to it, and then called attention to that.
That's okay, because we can edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, because it also sort of, I don't know,
It removes the abstraction. I hop on the bus at here, I get off here, and then the point in between effectively doesn't exist because I'm just doing my thing on the bus.
Yeah.
It makes sure it concretes you in with the city. You're going here. This is where you are. You're going here. And so that way, if you don't have the map in your head of the area, you start to form it as you go with repetition.
Yeah. And the SkyTrain has like a computer voice that tells you where you're going, so that's
it's not bad.
Kind of useful too.
I would prefer like something a little bit more like actual robot-y for its voice.
Yeah,
that's just me.
What they should do on the SkyTrain is they should have like SkyTrain radio, and they should have like guys like podcasters on it, like.
Well, I'm just thinking, SkyTrain Radio, I mean, you've got a very captive audience. They're really not going anywhere, and they are likely very well off to pay attention to what's being said there. So I think you could really sell some commercial airspace on that. You might want to get a hold of the people over there, Josh. You may have hit a golden spike in there.
Yeah, well, maybe. It's hard to say because a lot of people have their own devices that they like to.
But they do try and maintain, like, okay, what did he say? I mean, what did I miss a stop? What's going on? They want to pay attention a little bit. So, it's a little, some nice little music to play, a little bit of advertisements here and there. It's like, oh, we're passing this area. While you're at this spot, don't forget to visit this location in the mall.
I wonder, like, it might actually be the case. We should look this up, but the transit might have their own, like, app. And if you, like, on your smartphone, which I don't have, well, actually, I do have a smartphone.
Well, we're talking about the Vancouver one. We're not in Vancouver. You probably shouldn't have the app on there.
Right.
All the time, at least.
Yeah, but getting to, like, sort of where technology seems to be going is you might be able to just, like, to use your app to tune in and say when you get on the SkyTrain, just turn it to that station or whatever, and then they'll give you updates for...
InfoTrain, the SkyTrain info line.
Yeah. I
get it now on your app for free.
Probably already exists.
If it doesn't, I mean, we'll put a pin in this. You might want to look it up, make some context up. You may have found a very interesting and new dynamic for SkyTrain and mass transit systems.
Yeah. So that was my week. Is there a way to tie that in? Is that simulations? I'm not really sure if it was.
Oh.
It's sort of...
Well, it's a good idea. I mean, right now it doesn't exist, so technically it's fantasy.
Yeah.
But it's the fantasy of a better tomorrow, which is the best fantasy of all, in my opinion.
It's a friendly tomorrow. Yeah, and I survived 45 days on... 45 in-game days on Don't Starve, which was at least...
That's a month and a half, man.
Almost 24 hours, probably. Well, not because I had to restart over and over again. So I probably put in about 24 hours worth of gameplay in that game.
Congratulations, you're improving.
I believe I am.
And that's the thing about that sort of game. It's like the old roguelike dungeons. It's not about surviving the first time, getting everything done. It's about doing better and better every time you try. It's the learning curve. You plot how long you survived, how well you did, and it shows you your actual learning curve.
Yeah, you're probably right. I feel like maybe we'll talk about this more as we get into our main topic, but I feel like some of it's a bit of a waste of time.
Technically, everything's a waste of time unless you're trying to solve the riddle of cancer.
Yeah, our whole podcast is about how we don't waste
it's the
time.
thing. It's only a waste of time if you do not understand and you do not grow from what you and interact with in this world. Only then are you truly wasting your time. So long as you're getting something out of it, some sort of benefit, and you're becoming more in terms of who you are, no, you didn't waste your time.
Oh,
and you take that to anyone who says you're wasting your time with whatever hobby you're out there doing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I am a better person because of this. I'm learning more about me. I'm doing this. I'm gaining these skills.
Yeah.
Waste my time into you. You're wasting my time, buddy.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And one other thing I learned about Don't Starve is it's also a little bit applies to the real world, because you might be playing Don't Starve on a weekend when you're not like.
You got the downtime. You got the time to relax and just chill.
You might end up just playing it all day, through lunch, through breakfast, through dinner, and like, gee, I'm really hungry. I've been playing Don't Starve, and here I am in the real world starving.
And that's one of the weird things I've noticed about a lot of games is, it's so much easier to eat healthier. It's like, oh, no, I shouldn't do this. It doesn't fill the nutrition bar properly. I'll get hungry again in 5 more minutes. Meanwhile, it's like, okay, pause the game. I'm going to get myself some potato chips.
Yeah.
So, you learned nothing from that. You have missed that lesson entirely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird disconnect. Okay, so that was me. How was your week in simulations?
Well, I decided to start up a whole new world in Minecraft. I got a lot of mods, sort of thing, and they added stuff to the stone. And well, yes, there's a command you can use to effectively say, hey, recheck the stone for all the ore qualities and all that, and it'll put in all the stuff that's been added. I decided, no, you know what? I got a lot of new stuff in here. Let's have some fun. Let's test this fresh. And so I've been doing that, and you know what? The mods I added in really add a bit more of an RPG feel to the whole thing.
Okay.
I named the world. It's like, okay, it's not just going to be like New World 04, Desert Land, or anything like that. I opened up, I have a random name generator program. I opened it up. Oh wait, that looks like a good name for a world, and so I created Zanaith with an X because it's like, ooh, foreign, right? And yeah. Hey man, I just wrote the thing. I don't know how to properly pronounce it, but I find myself on Mesa Plateau, and I journey down because it's like, well, I'll get some trees, but other than that, there's nothing here. And so, hey, there's a desert down there. I've been with deserts before, and I find a town, a half day, journey from my start, heading just a little offside of northwest, 2 temples, sort of thing. And so thankfully, I had a nice pickaxe sort of thing, and so able to go in, get the treasure before anything happens, and pop back out again.
Oh, so you finally got to loot one of these temples?
I've actually looted 5 temples since then.
Very good. I
have a suspicion that every other temple in any previous game has probably just got a large crater at the bottom by now. It's something like apparently you really got to go in and get that now. You can't wait.
Monsters will spawn and set off the pressure plate.
Yeah. But so I've looted a few things there, and thanks to that, I was able to really get a little bit of a kickstart on some of the other mods. I was saying previous week how that Thaumcraft mod, I really wasn't able to do much until I got the scanner to scan every individual piece of block. And this one, it's like, I go down to the dungeon, hey, a few bars of gold. That's going to be really handy. Now I don't have to go to the bottom of the planet to get some gold. And so all I need to do is a little bit of digging to get the stuff I needed to assemble it all together, and whee! But, I found a town, and, right on the western edge of the town, there's a temple. It's like, all right, that's looking nice. Mm-hmm. And then there's another structure on the northern side of the town. And I look, and it's I have an archaeology mod. It adds fossils and allows you to do things like recreate, through pottery shards and proper stuff. I can make, vases and urns and find some stuff to put up on walls. And it looks pretty nice, I must say, from what I've done. And I find an academy, which is where people used to study this stuff, and it's in state of disrepair. And so I wound up spending an entire day just after I'd gotten enough resources of fixing up, changing this, putting that in, putting this over here, and doing that. And okay, this I need to put some glass window in here because this is all being shattered out. Mm-hmm. And I think I might be only just a few pieces away from getting everything fully renovated up proper. I think I did it right. there's some degree of bilateral symmetry. I was able to compare. This is how it goes, and this is how it goes, I think. But I was rather lucky because there were some beds up on the top floor, so I was able to snag a bed, so I haven't had to worry about monsters. So it's like, woo! And I've just been enjoying it, and like because of the archaeology mod with this, like, oh boy, there's a temple for me to go in and do my stuff, and there's archaeology stuff. I have, like, in my own head a personality for who I am in the game. I'm a scholar. I'm trying to figure out the lost wonders of the ancient civilizations and why everything is just crap little towns in the middle of the sand now. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it in a new aspect. The mods have, apparently by my choice, have cobbled together to add a dimension that was missing from it before. Before it was mostly survival, get this done. And now it's like I am discovering the lost, secrets of the ancients. Oh, yeah. As I try and build, a better city around for the villagers.
Yeah.
But I planned way too big. I'm trying to build a palace, and I am just like, I need more cobblestone. I'm not digging far enough to get more stuff to work with. I need more sandstone. And I'm looking around, and it's like, it's too much sandstone everywhere. I need to get some other color. So I'm going to go head back towards the mesa. I'm going to get some of that clay, and I'm going to make some roads out of that. Mm-hmm. I've been going to the neighboring towns I find, and I've been raiding them because I have the smeltery stuff in there. So I've been like, well, your guys' smelter doesn't work. It looks nice, but right now all it can do is trap you inside of it when you walk in and fall. So I'm just going to get rid of that off of your hands, and then I take it back. And so I've got a nice big old smeltery I'm making fun glass panes out of. I'm getting, big old glass blocks. Because I'm in the desert, I got cactus galore. Mm-hmm. I'm making the green stuff, so I've got green tinted stuff. So I've made a greenhouse that's actually green.
Oh, nice. That sounds kind of ugly, actually. But
lots of things. It's actually a nice shade of green, and it's white with the, the sandstone. Oh, okay. Although I am thinking now that I've got some clay, I might want to do some green stained clay for some green highlights in amongst the white sandstone. Pretty. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying how it's looking, and I'm doing the academy I'm looking at there. It's not just like big square block. It has some style and some form to it, and I'm learning from that. It's like, they do some nice indent lines over here, so it's a little recessed like that. And so when I was building the greenhouse area, I put in I don't need to have it, but I put in some reinforcement areas on the sides. It's like these are the main support pillars that hold up all the other stories.
I like that. Yeah.
And it is looking much better.
Yeah.
So I'm learning not just archaeology, but apparently architecture from this whole thing.
I do I wondered since Minecraft is sort of the kids are playing Minecraft now. I wonder if we're going to have a huge architectural revolution when, as soon as the kids who are in school right now sort of graduate and go off to school and become architects and designers.
Well, they have to figure out that architecture is something they want to go into. I went with biology, but judging by my work with Minecraft and my history with Lego, maybe I could have done well for myself designing buildings.
Yeah, might have been.
Who knows? The path not taken, right?
Yeah. I think design is architecture and design and designing things and designing objects. I think that's probably where the coolest stuff is going to happen in the near. Obviously there's cool stuff happening in space. I think there's going to be some interesting things happening with just artistic works when the 3D printers become a lot more common. Oh, that's going to be cool too. Yeah.
Then all you have to do is put out a nice little patent design, whatever, right on thing. You go down to the 3D Printomat, because I'm just making this up as I go along, and you go to 3D Printomat, and it's like, okay, I've got this, so you pay the 99-cent fee for usage of the pattern, and hey, look at this. This is a nice little printed urn I've got for myself. It's a very nice artistic style. I got some stuff to hang up on the walls. Some party I've never met before has designed it, but now it's 99 cents for whoever wants it, plus material costs, get it printed. So I think that is where we're going to see an artistic revolution because of that degree of freedom to play and experiment with stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the future, to the near future.
Technically, I'm already living in the future. There's stuff going on that was considered. There are people talking into their wrist things that connect up with through Bluetooth to their phones. People are making finally phone calls with their wrists.
About time.
That's the future I was promised in 1985, and that's finally here. Ergo, I am living in the future.
It is 2015 too.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. The whole Back to the Future
hoverboard thing.
I've heard some other podcasts do a little like, I don't know, tributes is the way.
I'm happy there aren't hoverboards and there aren't hover cars. Because, well, one, kids get hurt enough on regular, stuff like that. They don't need hover to add that extra degree of uncertainty as to which way they fall. Mm-hmm. And people are dangerous enough in 2 dimensions driving. I don't need a 3rd dimension. I don't need somebody crashing through my window here because they were driving drunk in 3 dimensions and they tried to park an extra 15 feet up.
Yeah, you're on the second story.
It's a bit of a, well, the
1.5 story.
The basement is a half basement. It's half submerged sort of thing. So yeah, story and a half. Yeah. It is the first floor, but it's, not the basement. So yeah. But if we were to have hover cars, somebody could try parking drunk because they're driving drunk, and all of a sudden, oh no, they go too far. Bam, right in my window. There goes my next week, because I'm dealing with broken glass, getting things replaced. Got to move everything out for the cops to come, the insurance adjusters to do their stuff, and then the repair people. I don't need that, so thank you for not having hover cars. That's my verdict.
Sounds reasonable. Yeah. How did we get? We were talking about your week in simulation.
Well, yeah, and the future, yes. And I think I'm finally going to use some of the architectural designs I've had for libraries, because I've got the Mistcraft stuff, so it's like, it's all set up for a library kind of style.
Oh yeah.
And so I can have some fun work with that, and play around. And since I've got the clay mace over there, I might be able to come up with a very colorful, spot. But as it is, I may have to go back through the academy and do some upgrading. There's a lot of sandstone, and on the underside of the sandstone, it's got that cobbly look to it.
Yeah.
Whereas with a smooth sandstone, if I recall correctly, it's got a smooth bottom to it. So I may...
Might not.
I do believe it does. It's used in the houses that way.
All right.
And that's what they use in the houses to make it look really nice and professional. So I may take the second story and the third story floor/ceiling areas and just redo that with the smooth sandstone I've gotten from taking apart the village.
Sounds like a good idea.
And just to make it look a little bit better. I may also put it in a basement in a little bit. The archaeology thing eventually allows you to go a Jurassic Park sort of route and make your own. I did some experimentation work, and I managed to get an Ankylosaurus egg and have it hatch. So I can, thanks to the Mistcraft, I can create a world and use the portal stuff to create a portal to a dinosaur world. Whee! And, that's where I'll put all my dinosaurs. So hooray! Oh, but the fun thing with the academy was the one night that I wasn't able to get to sleep properly quickly enough, an Enderman spawned. And he was just it was just wandering around inside the academy for a while, teleporting upstairs, downstairs, but in there. And so for a while it was like I had some sort of weird alien curator. Was he happy at one of my attempts to fix the whole place up, or was he angry that I was doing something to it? Was he changing that? Why was he the reason why these blocks were missing? What was going on?
Good name an Enderman, right?
I think you might have to look at one to properly put a name tag on. Yeah.
But if you wore a pumpkin...
I'm in the middle of a desert. I have no pumpkins. Oh! Actually, wait. The mod for the archaeology allows you to find a skull, and you can put the skull on your head, and it acts the same way. So yeah, okay, maybe I could do it.
I wonder. I've never even tried naming an Enderman. And I bet the name would probably show up in his chin or his throat or something. But maybe.
Well, make it more like a collar sort of thing, a naming collar.
I wonder. Yeah, I never even thought to sort of see if an Enderman would stick around.
And it's actually not that bad to have an Enderman around there because, I'm still working at the 1.7.10 level, and 1.8 is when they added the Endermites. So it's I don't have to worry about little Endermites all over the freaking place.
And Enderman, they can pick up.
Not sandstone, but sand.
Sandstone? They pick up sand.
Sand and blocks and
they won't pick up
softer
bookshelves or anything like that, or your enchanting tables. So
no.
Safe there.
And that's the thing. Yeah, there was 4 enchanting tables in that place.
Okay.
I may have to download a deconstruction mod because I don't need 4. They're not even near books enough to make it really worthwhile.
Whenever I do a permanent sort of a base in if I'm going to stay there a while and do a lot of enchanting and make every kind of tool.
I am at level 28, so it's about time I get going on like a proper enchanting space.
I usually go with 3 enchanting tables. I build one surrounded by books for the maximum level.
Okay.
And then immediately, like, next to the wall of books, there's another one which gets about half the levels that half maximum. I think it's 15 or 16 or something like that.
Okay.
I might add, I can't remember now if I added a couple extra bookshelves in sort of another horseshoe shape. But so I have 1, 2, and the third one is completely out of range of any of the books. So it's like
1, 2, 3, yeah.
So that way I don't have to, because a lot of people are like, ooh, pistons, like we'll move the bookshelves up and out of the way, to
it is a lot of work. I'll put some sand down around here. Yeah, okay.
Or put torches in the bookshelves or something, because that will do it. But yeah, no, my version is just do 3 in a row. Wouldn't
it be easier just to use pistons to move the actual enchanting table itself up and down, as opposed to the bookshelves? Throw the lever, and then the enchanting table moves up into place. It gets the high enchants. You put it back, and it goes down, and now it's the lower end enchants.
I'm not sure if the enchanting table can be pushed by a piston. I'll have to double check that. But
I do have a piston from raiding a nearby town. I might be able to have some fun with that.
Yeah, I think if it's a tile entity like a chest or an anvil might be pushable because it's a
yes. I remember reading up on a lot of work developed to try and drop an anvil on somebody.
Yeah. But I think tile entities like a chest, a furnace. I know, furnace is not pushable.
Oh, that's why you got to put it on the with the tracks and all that.
And a lot of people use furnaces in like slime block builds because the furnaces won't get stuck to the slimes.
Oh yes, and that's right. That's another thing too. Is there's some slime islands around where I am. Yeah.
Oh, is that what's?
That's part of the Tinker's construct mod. Yes. I haven't done too much with that. I have a lot of need for acacia and regular wood, not a lot of need for slime. So I haven't grown much for my own slime trees.
I mean, as cool as slime blocks are, I almost never use the slime blocks.
Because
they're pretty ugly.
Well, I've got the Tinker stuff on there, so I mean I can reduce it down to slime crystals.
Okay.
And I can put that in with my weapons to enchant them effectively.
Okay.
And I mean the color of them, they have like a weeping willow style, so I might want to consider putting some up, around my palatial area, just to add some biodiversity. At least until I can find the various trees for the thaumatology mod, and I get some they got some beautiful wood for their mystical wood trees there, just an absolutely beautiful plank design. But that'll come at a later date. Like I said, I am 3 days deep in the desert.
Right.
And I am checking daily over
you
with.
Can fly,
I've got the Archimedes ships mod, so I can fly. But to bring any animals back, I cannot do anything really with the Mistcraft unless I do a lot of fishing and randomly get leather out of it. Because I'm just so deep, and I'm checking the Archimedes mod stuff to see if they've updated so that they can fix. They have a crate. And what you're supposed to do is the crate is part of the ship. You put the ship. The crate should be able to be that you move something like an animal or even a villager on there, and they'll wind up getting stuck and become part of the ship, and you fly off and you can transport them as need be, which would be a great thing. Because it's like, I want a village here, but this is not a biome where villages are, and it would take forever to get a villager by this way. So, instead of me making a 3-day journey to go find some cows and then spend probably 4 days luring them back, what I want to do is just put 1 or 2 on the crate, sort of thing, crate them up and ship them out.
Yeah.
But they're flawed right now in that there's apparently a large history of creatures dropping to their death as they're not properly attached. So, meh. On the other hand, with my archaeology mod, with its Jurassic Park sort of tangent on there, what I could wind up doing is just getting 1 or 2 creatures in, and then using. Yeah, I can extract DNA from raw meats and all that. So I could take just kill a bunch of animals, take their various meat product, and come on back. At least for the core animals. I mean, the creatures expansion, probably not. But then get the chicken DNA, and I can get that put into a syringe, and then I just hit a cow with my chicken DNA, and it gives birth to a chicken. So all I need is one, a good animal species in there, and with enough meat, I can get the rest. But that's a little creepy, even by my standards.
Really, you're not thinking of it right. That's not that creepy.
Well, here's the weird thing: is okay, according to the process, I would have to get a raw chicken, put it in the analyzer to get chicken DNA.
Mm-hmm.
I then have to combine the chicken DNA with some sort of other meaty sample to create the chicken embryos.
Mm-hmm.
The only real source I have right now and that I've tested with is fish from fishing. So I could create chicken embryos that's derived from fish, genetics, and then put that into a cow that pops out a slightly fishy chicken.
Yeah.
What's that going to taste like? That chicken is never going to taste right.
Cook it really well and lots of spices.
But how am I supposed to cook it? Am I supposed to cook it at the temperature for fish, beef, or chicken? It's
the higher temperature.
It blows my mind just thinking about that.
I like that thought. Do you ever have you never have chicken and another kind of meat at a meal, right?
Actually, I can prove you wrong. Chicken cordon bleu.
Sorry,
it's
not
chicken stuffed with other stuff.
No, actually, chicken you do have.
Turducken.
Sorry, I meant fish.
Fish, yes. Fish tends to be a solitary sort
people,
of...
People don't serve fish and another meat, like fish and steak.
It's fish wrapped with bacon. No, it's actually a pretty good thing.
Fish and bacon. I mean,
unless you're doing kind of like a goulash. I just kind of cleaned out the fridge and made it into a stew. Do you want some?
Yeah.
There's some fish. There's some chicken. I think that was bread, but it was
multi-meat.
Yeah. I got some bread for some extra starchy flavor going on in here, and just added all this stuff together. Yeah, actually, I'd give it a shot. Okay, I'll admit I'd give it a shot. But no, fish is one of those. It's so far different. Not a lot of people have ventured into the culinary waters of mixing fish with other dishes. Although you go over to the crustaceans, and you do have your surf and turf for the lobster and steak.
Steak and lobster? Yes,
yeah.
that's a
But
thing.
fish itself tends to be fish is the dish.
Yeah. And I guess, part of that is just the whole food groups idea. But, yeah, I don't know. People should pair meats more often, I think. I think that's an unexplored field.
On the other hand, once we got bacon, there's bacon adds to everything.
Yeah, bacon goes with anything.
Then maybe we just realized that no, you can't do better. We've got bacon. Bacon is the universal meat additive to add to your meat diversified portfolio here.
I think it's sad if people think that's as good as bacon is really great.
And then we have bacon derivatives like turkey bacon.
But I think it's sad if people just stop their explorations there and are satisfied with just bacon on everything. I think people should on the other hand, I think we should... I'm not a vegetarian, but I sort of feel like I should be going more in the direction of vegetarian.
You'd be surprised what you can do with adding some different veggies. Before I met my wife, I had never even heard of bitter melon. It was in the market aisle. It's there.
Yeah.
I just never paid attention to it. And it lives up to its name. And the first time you eat bitter melon in eggs, with maybe a little bit of corned beef and all that, I'll mix it all together, serve it on a bed of rice. All you're going to taste is a bitter melon. And you're going to, oh my God, I can't even finish this. But you know what? 3 o'clock the next morning, you're going to be awake in bed and you're going, I'd go for a little bit more of that stuff. Good thing I put it in the fridge. And next thing you know, it's oh man, I want more bitter melon in this mix.
It's like tobacco from The Simpsons.
It's something, it's just such a different flavor taste.
Like Grandma, more.
Well, that's the thing, though, is it's a different flavor, and so it's initially met with, I can't finish that, and then it's it was different, and I remember the taste a lot more clearly than any other food I've eaten this week, and so you want yourself eating more. So go out and explore the veggie aisle with its powerful, potent flavors.
Yeah, well, this has been Foodcast with Josh and Ryan, apparently.
Well, actually, that does take into one of the other things I was looking at for mods this week. I found the dynamic lighting one where you hold the torch and it lights things up. You set a zombie on fire. The zombie is a light source. It's oh boy, little mods I want to add in. Nothing that really changes. I'm like, what is the last thing in my world that really didn't do anything for me? Well, I did have a lot of that gunpowder, but I guess that's just because I didn't want to blow anything up. I know, I had 12 stacks of eggs, so Minecraft egg mod, and I found the Eggy Goodness mod that allows you to cook eggs into fried eggs. So it's now I really do want to get some chickens. I want to take a 3-day journey out. I want to find some chickens, get their eggs, bring some chickens back, so that way I don't have to decide, should I cook some potatoes, should I eat some raw carrots, or maybe I should just make myself a lot of bread. It's no dude. I can have eggs on the menu. I can have fried eggs on the menu for breakfast every morning I wake up. And that sounds good. I like that.
I like pretending that my video game character is eating hot food.
Well, just something like before, because the only use for egg was making more chickens, throwing at somebody you didn't like for like
cake.
0 damage, and cake. And once you've gotten a little bit of cake, you really don't need a lot else. So, like, you get a couple chickens, you're going to wind up with a lot of chickens. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have a wheat farm, because it's like, well, what do I do with this excess seed? Well, you feed it to the chickens. Now you got more chickens. Now you got more eggs. Now you got more problem. What do you do with your dang eggs?
So too much stuff in Minecraft. What a horrible problem to have.
Well, it's just that gradual buildup. If you get a few seeds and you do a little bit of work with soil and you wind up with a bit of a garden, you're going to wind up with excess seeds. What do you do with these excess seeds? Well, you don't want to throw them out because they're useful. So you feed them to the chickens. Now you have excess chickens to worry about. And sure, I mean, you can butcher a lot of chickens and wind up trying to trade them off to a villager, but eventually the villager's going to say, no more chickens. You've given me enough chickens. I'm not buying your dang eggs. So you wind up with this large glut. Although, I have something I can do with that now. I was doing a little adventuring, and thanks to the thaumatology thing, there was nodes, and I found a hungry node, and this node sucks things in. It takes a block, and it pops it. Like it mines the block.
N-O-D-E node.
Node, yes. Okay, yeah. Node, N-O-D-E. And it sucks the bit in, and it can suck in creatures, too. Like on the page for it, it's like, be careful. It will suck you in, slowly drain your health, kill you, and take all your items as they all get effectively eaten by the node. So it's like, whoa. That's dangerous, and that's awesome. That's my favorite kind of danger. It's the awesome danger, right? I mean, creepers are nasty, and they're not awesome. But getting attacked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, well, that's an awesome danger, right? So it's like, oh, yeah. So then I'm thinking, well, what could I do with this? This node that sucks things in, because like I discovered it by looking. It's like, was there an explosion there? Why is there a crater? And I go in, I see like a block of sandstone suck up into the center, and it shimmies for a little bit and then disappears. I'm like, oh, that's a hungry node. My goodness, I've discovered one. And so it's like, well, I could throw my waste into a garbage, thing with magma, or I suppose set up some sort of thing with, cactus. But that's nothing compared to throwing things into what's effectively a tiny little black hole sitting on the desert floor. So yeah, I may just wind up creating like a containment area around it, far enough that it's not going to suck things in, and I don't accidentally wander. Oh no, I got sucked in. I was leading cows back to my homeland, and then I got sucked in. And I sucked in the cow too. So when I respawned, no cow for me. So that's my giant black hole of garbage, man. And then I suppose because I have a pail, I have access to, there's a lot of magma sitting on the surface for me. So, well, scoop up some lava, scoop up some water, and then I can just have it, pour down and just have, cobblestone generate, and I can suck up the darn cobblestone. I can see how big and bad. Let's see how hungry I can make this black hole of a node. Let's have some fun with it. So, yeah, that's been my week. Flirting with danger and abusing the laws of science and God. Yeah, cool. That's kind of how I seem to roll with Minecraft. Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing or just, an availability, but that's how it goes.
Can we mention also, while we're transitioning, GotaCon.
Yes. 1 week less before it begins.
GotaCon is very soon coming up. February 27th to...
the heart of Victoria.
Downtown Victoria, British Columbia. If you don't already, I'm not sure where all our listeners are. I know we have listeners all over the world. I have a little map in the thing that says where all the listeners, but I don't know how many are local. But if you are local...
come on down, man. It's a blast.
And the other thing is, if you're not, we'd love to see you there.
It's a good excuse to come on down. If you can't make it, say you're on the other side of the planet, Josh, you've been mentioning that they've been recording all their various symposium stuff. Jules Sherrod,
His Twitter handle is @GeekyJules. He records all of the panels, or he did last year. I don't know. I think his plan is the same thing. Records all the panels and uploads them to what is it? I think it's called Geeky. It's Geeky Pleasures with Jules Sherrod, I think is the name of the podcast, which I believe you can get in iTunes. If not, you can Google that, or just tweet @GeekyJules. Or tweet at me and I'll forward it or whatever. Yeah, so you can find all those from GotaCon there.
So if you can't be an attendee in real space, you can be an attendee in cyberspace.
Yeah, and of course we'll be, as always, you'll download the podcast that week, and we will have our recap basically on
how much swag I managed to get during the auction.
Yeah.
Although I am going to try and focus on a very hard upper budget and spend no more than X amount. I want to see the most amount I can get for this stuff. Can I find any good treasures that no one else realized was like a diamond in the rough?
Yeah, I just also wanted to say something too about I feel bad for the people who can't be there, because I know what it feels like, because I listen to a lot of other podcasts like No Direction is one, or which is also 3.5 Sanctuary, and Fear the Boot, and they have their own conventions. They're like, oh, we got to go to Gen Con, oh, we got to go to PAX. NPC Cast, they live in Seattle, so it's pretty easy but it's also, it costs money to go to PAX too.
But at least they don't have to pay for a hotel.
Yeah, that's true.
Just the public transit, man.
And those guys, they always make me so jealous with their, like, oh, I get to go to our gaming convention, yay. So I am so happy that I get to go to one. I'm very happy that there's one in my own hometown. Mm-hmm. But I also am aware that it makes people sort of feel bad when they can't also attend. So if you
can vicariously feel happy. I mean, I read a decent number of web comics, and there's always like a convention season approaching, so I gotta get the buffer going on. I gotta make sure everything's ready so I can attend the cons and not get behind on like what the rest of the world sees. And they apparently have just a blast. They have good long friendships. Oh boy, it's the only chance they get to meet, and they form long bonds. Of course, to have great times. And it's like, I'm not going to be able to attend. I mean, I'm going to need to win a 649 before that becomes like a valid option for me. Fingers crossed, I'll win one of these years. But it's like I still feel happy for them that they get to go and they get to do the stuff that it is an enjoyable experience for them. So
yeah, so I hope that what we bring to our listeners is our own enthusiasm. We're excited and happy, but we don't want to rub it in too much. Yeah. We just want to enjoy it for you, so somehow you, through listening to the podcast, get to enjoy it vicariously.
It's like eating pancakes sort of thing. We hope that it's like you get like a sample bite from our stack of pancakes, as opposed to us going, oh, these pancakes are so nice and soft, and oh yeah, oh, and the syrup's so good. No, we don't want to be teasing you with it. We want to give you a small sample of what we have.
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
I suppose the other thing is the reason we are able to go to a convention like GotaCon is because it's starting to be a thing that a lot of smaller cities will have. Like Victoria is not a major metropolis, but we're
a little spread out, but we got a decent population. Was it 2 million in the grand total area for you go all the way up to Sanishton over the Brentwood Bay and the Soup to.
I don't think it's. Well, it could be, but I don't think it's even that.
I think it all tallies up.
The whole island. I think it might be 1 million people on the entire island, if that might be high.
I'll have to do some checking on that, but I do believe it. Like you take all the little towns like the Oak Bay and you add everything up, it does come out to a decently sized population for the Greater Victoria metro area, as I believe
guess
what
so,
they want.
I mean, we're no Vancouver or Seattle, and which is like
I'm okay with that, honestly. I mean the Vancouver. I mean, if anyone tries to drive in Vancouver, very angry place. Public transit or be prepared to be very hassled. So I'm okay with the slightly smaller, scaled back style of Victoria.
Okay.
And it fits with our laid back attitude here, I think.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if like some of our listeners might be listening in like another country, Europe has lots of their own conventions. I don't know any off the top of my head, but they do gaming conventions and stuff like that.
I'm sure Iceland's got some nice stuff going on.
Probably, yeah. And you know what? We have 0 listeners in New Zealand, and I was like, we need to somehow, because I know they have gamers in New Zealand, So we need to figure out how to reach out to those.
Maybe they're all too busy just enjoying the scenery. I mean, you've seen the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. I mean, if that was your backyard,
well, it kind of BC is a lot like that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but it has colder weather. New Zealand has all that beautiful scenery plus 10 degrees.
Yeah,
at least. So it's like, oh yeah, it's autumn. I'll just go hiking and in that t-shirt. You can't always do that here.
Well, here on the island, in the autumn,
you get an extra couple weeks of doing that.
I wouldn't stay out overnight in a t-shirt in the fall. But
I've been told you can do that until very late in the year in New Zealand.
Okay.
Or I suppose early in the year, because they've got their winter and the summer months for us.
Well,
crazy.
Hopefully they're LARPing, and hopefully they have like an iPhone that they can have this podcast on.
If they don't have some sort of hobbitish LARP, I am going to be severely disappointed in the nation as a whole.
How did they get that? Oh yeah. So listeners, if you have a friend in New Zealand who you think is sort of into games or geeky stuff like that,
or I'll one up you. If you guys have a convention near where you're living, send us a line. Tell us how good it is. If it's just a small one, let us know.
So send email to the Simulationist.
We'll mention it on the podcast here.
thesimulationist@gmail.com is our email, or you can comment on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/thesimulationist. Or you can comment on our Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com, or is it a group page? Anyways, facebook.com/thesimulationist. All of those things. Plus, you can comment in iTunes, or I should say, the thing you can do in iTunes is review, and the thing you can do.
The review is basically a comment. I mean, I've seen some stuff. Yeah. They're pretty casual as to what they allow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they really moderate it. I'm doing air quotes, moderate those, except I guess for bad language or whatever.
That's a machine handling that, and you don't even need anybody doing that. Just do a search list on that.
Yeah, I think so. So let us know. Okay, moving on to the next segment. We're not done. Sorry, we did the social media a little earlier in the podcast than we usually do, but we're not done.
Okay, we got some stuff. It's so this marks a couple weeks I've been trying out the Thaumatology mod on Minecraft, and I technically have still not I haven't created a magic item in this world. I haven't even made my single first hungry chest that eats items that drop next to it that are too close. Mm-hmm. And so I had to make a nice long journey to figure out where the heck the chickens were just so I could create a writing desk. But I'm enjoying it a lot more, and I'm happy that I decided to stick with it. Because there was a time where I was like, you know what, I'm not certain about this mod. I gave it a test. Should I flip a coin? Heads I keep it, tails I drop it. And I'm happy that I've kept it. The little mini games.
Did you actually flip a coin? Or no?
No. In the end, I said, well, you know what?
You just decided you'd rather keep it.
It's not hurting me to have it in, so I guess I won't bother deleting it. Okay. And then things started clicking, playing the little mini games for uncovering research. It's starting to just oh, okay, this breaks down to that aspect in this one, so I break it down this way. This one breaks down a similar way, and I get it to this common denominator. So if I connect them up this way, bam, I'm done. And I'm enjoying it. It's like that feeling when you first play Sudoku, and it's like, oh yes, I finally get how the game is going, and I'm getting good at it. It's not like a happy pleasure where you're like, yay, joy. It's like, I've grown, and I'm doing better because I know how this is working. And that's the pleasure of those mini games for me. And so it occurs to me, you know what? Even if I don't wind up actually doing any item creation, I've been looking at some stuff and it's like, well, this is kind of complex. To enchant an item, you don't need a 1 square block. You need a 5x5 area. I'm gonna have to sit down and do some planning out. How am I gonna design this stuff up? My goodness.
Right.
But even if I don't do any of that, I'm enjoying the little games that it has. And that little scanner I actually find is doing pretty good because it's like, what is this? I was in the creative mode and I'm looking, it's like, is that a robot? What mod has me with robots? Give me the scanner. Miniature golem. Okay, that'd be from the Mo Creatures mod. Okay.
Okay.
So I think just that alone would make for a great, mini thing.
Right.
Just an analyzer. You just look at it, it's this, okay, and we even noticed which mod it comes from, and you could have that one be a very popular small modular mod.
It's weird. Like, I'll just briefly. Shouldn't be too long of a comment, but I'll just briefly say I'm not sure if I like that as a design thing, because I like games, and I think Notch went into creating Minecraft like this in the first place. I like games that don't require like the player to ask, "Oh, what is that? Let me look up. Let me go to the wiki to find out what it is." I prefer things to sort of be a little bit more evident. I mean, not necessarily everything on the table as to how many hit points it has and everything like that, but to be able to see like a miniature golem there and say, "Oh, it's just it's a robot." It's
the thing is like when I encountered it in creative mode, I'm like, whoa, what mod had this? Because I looked at the Mo Creature stuff, what they had, but I didn't read and look at the item, for everything. So I'm like, wait. Did I download a mod that gives me like some sort of weird, crazy future robots to fight? Do I really want this? It's like, oh no, it's just a mini golem. That's what it is. I just interpret it visually wrong. So that's just a nice little say. Okay, what is this? What am I dealing with here? Okay. Well, it doesn't work with everything. Like for the archaeology mod, if I try and look at some of the tablet wall stuff I've got, it gives like a line dot word dot that. So, and even they'll admit on their own wiki, it's a little buggy, still in a work in progress.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, understandable sort of thing. But it's just nice to see. Okay. Like when I first entered the academy, I'm like, what are these green blocks here? Like, what's going on with that? And when I came back with the thermometer, I'm looking at incubation chambers. Oh my goodness! It's a good thing I didn't try mucking around with these. I'll come back to them when I'm ready for it. Because I added a lot of mods in a short time, not one at a time. I kind of added like about a 6-pack, and then a couple, a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy that I have that analysis device just so I can get up to speed. Now that I'm used to what this is, there we go. Now I'm running with it.
Well, I on the flip side of my saying that I dislike it, or that it's a debug tool or a kludgy solution or something like that, the flip side is you have a game that isn't developed by professionals, and this game is deliberately open, or maybe not entirely deliberately, but it is allowed to be open for a bunch of people to sort of add just stuff in, a bunch of like community members. These are not necessarily, they might be professionals in their day job, or they might do a different.
They're not earning a living making these mods. Except me, the Mo Creatures guy. He's got a thing for $500 a month, and you're able to put his Mo Creatures as part of like a mod pack sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. So
but no, most people are just doing it. It's like, I want this in the game. I think this is something everybody might like, or at least enough people that I'm going to put it out there to the world and say, who wants this? This is what I've come up with to add to the game.
Yeah. So it's a very different sort of design challenge to create a world in which things don't necessarily have to be elegant. It's just, people throw in their own block of this, block of that, and you have to actually look it up. But for some reason, players are willing to do that. They're like, okay, I grabbed this from the community and somebody made it, and it's not the most elegant piece of game design out there, but it does something cool that I want. So
well, that's why I got the archaeology thing. It's like, it adds something more for me to dig and find in the dirt. Well, I like that. Yeah, I've encountered a lot of basic stone in doing my quarry work. And just the little bits of opal or a little bit of aluminum here, just that adds so much more. Just something different, more than just block. Oh, hey, finally something. No, it breaks the monotony, and that's what I wanted for. And this gives me all this other stuff too. Hooray! Wall stuff. I can make art on my walls now. I can get enough pottery shards, and then I can put it together and make like a broken urn. I can get more relics. I can make it a proper urn, and then I can color it back up. I can have colored urns sitting around and stuff like that. This really adds style to my place. I'm liking that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's what I like. It's like something that adds more to the game.
Yeah.
So hooray! But, in the end, it's like, for some of these mods, it's like, is this really what I want? And, there's a couple mods I was looking at, it's like, well, this one's still in development. I will put it on my, to inspect list. Like, there's one for soul shards, which I'll, effectively later on in the game allow you to make your own spawners, for the mob spawners and do work with that. And it's like, well, you know what? Actually, it seems kind of balanced. It's later in the game, so you're going to have to if you want the high-end spawner, you're going to need to kill 4,000 of these creatures to get their souls to make it the high-end spawner. So it's not like it just, you put like 2 pieces of rock together with some stick, and all of a sudden you get a mob spawner that spawns, Endermen with 1 hit point apiece.
Yeah.
So it's not like a free gimme. And so I'm like, I'm liking that. But the guy says in the new year there will be a much better release, and it'll have some really nice stuff, some soul metal. Ooh. So I'm not gonna add it right now, but I'm gonna put it in, on my to watch list, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it. If his update adds everything I hope it'll be, fingers crossed it will, then maybe I'll put it in. As opposed to some mods, it's like, no, this one has a chance at corrupting the world if you take things out wrong. Don't think I'm going to use it. I'll just put that aside. And so, yeah, it's for me, it's like really a case of like, should I cut and say, no, I don't want it, or should I pick it up and say, I'm in it for the long haul, for when it will help me out, when I will enjoy it. And that occurred to me. It's like that's a big question in a lot of fiction.
Okay. Yeah.
There have been some TV series like Gotham. It's a decent series. I will not begrudge anyone or anything on there, but I tried it. I tried it for several episodes. It didn't catch my attention. I said, no, I'm not going to try and get into it. Spend like 1 hour a week for the next year trying to get into the thing and have it really appeal to me. I'm cutting. I gave it a try. I cut. Yeah. Whereas some other stuff, it's like, well, it was kind of slow. But then around the 5th episode, it really starts picking up. And that's when everything clicks. The characters of Persona, you get rid of that first installment weirdness, and it starts picking up. This is where it is. And so I wound up loving the series, watching it, because, I stuck with it past the initial weirdness. And then, I really started enjoying it. So how about you, Josh? Is it like have you encountered that thing where you have to say, am I going to keep up with this, or am I just going to say, no, it's not for me?
Well, I feel like I have, but I try not to say for anything. I try never to say never. I suppose like it used to be a very different world in which television would be on when it's on, and then if you missed it, you missed it. I do enjoy that. I could easily go and find like episodes of The Flash that I haven't missed an episode of The Flash, but if I had missed one, I could go to the CBC website and stream it, an old episode. It's all there for me. I don't have to be there every week sitting down and watching it, but I do gain extra enjoyment from. Oh God, it's Wednesday. It says it's Tuesday. I got to sit down. The Flash is on. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter sort of thing is going to be on. I'm going to really enjoy this thing. It's something that I had to wait for. Because I waited, I enjoyed it. So there's that. I can't think of a thing that I'm sure there's things I've given up on, but in terms of like a game or something with like a high learning curve, I'm sure there are. But yeah, I'm thinking usually what I do. So then there's like a middle ground between cut and don't come back versus like the keep sticking it through. There'd be like the I'm going to give this a bit of a rest, and then I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to do it when I get a bit of fresh head on my shoulder. Yeah, and maybe I'm just, like, that's what I say to myself. Maybe whether or not you ever come back, well, that's another matter, because life is full of a lot of things. There is probably some very cool television and games that I will never play my entire life, and I will have missed out. If there's 60 hours a day, I still couldn't fill it full of everything I wanted. I could try and get through the 20,000 pages of reading I've got. I could work it through that. I like we were mentioning before the podcast. Like I've never read the Peter Pan story. Yeah, because we were seeing it was on the TV. Yeah, we had it on in the background while we were having our dinner. But it's like I said, well, it's old enough now. It should be public domain. I could just find it on the LibriVox stuff, and I could listen to it as I play my game. Double my efficiency. I get a little extra culture in my system, and I play a video game. Haha. But even if I was to do that all the time and double up on my efficiency, there's still stuff I would never be able to get around to. And so that's why I think it's important to figure out like where your criteria is for, do I keep on with this or do I stop? Yeah. Like just last night I was watching, an Abbott and Costello movie.
It's a good movie. But I can still always do good movies. They never really had a bomb. Yeah. But I had seen it before, so it's like, do I really want to try and watch it the second time and get all the little nuances, or should I be, like doing something else? Should I get my little netbook out here? Should I be looking up more little Minecraft mods to say, like, maybe they do something better with, like gunpowder I can make use of, so I don't have several stacks of it in my inventory eventually.
I think is this wrong? Is this wrong to think this way? But there is a part of me that thinks in games, you really should only, like, if you're the player, you really should only be sticking with something if you're enjoying yourself in the grind, in that moment. Like, if that grind is, like, bad or boring or sucks, then that's when you should stop. You should say, well, I'm not enjoying myself. But at the same time, there are games where it's like, no, you got to work through that. You got to put in your effort to earn some kind of reward, or I guess. But usually, I mean, in video games, the reward is a cutscene, hooray. I think the reward should be the gameplay.
YouTube has me beat. I don't need to go through the gameplay to get that cutscene anymore.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that too.
To be fair, it might just be that you are, like, air quotes, doing it wrong with video games. There was a few things on the Marvel Avengers Alliance where it's like daily stuff. It's like, I don't want to slog through this. It's like I gotta take time out. I really want to get back to I want to build this thing in Minecraft. I want to get going on this. I got some stuff I want to do. I want to get that quarry up and running. And then it's like, wait a minute, like I don't need to use the characters that need to get leveled. And if I just want to power through this, I could. Who's the best one to power through with? And I'm looking, Iron Man's level 14. He's got a nice big old chest blast, it's this ion cannon thing. It's like, that's not bad. And I realized, hey, I've got the alternate costume for She-Hulk. I've got the right stuff for her. Every time she punches, she gets more powerful. Every other turn, I can have her punch twice as much. And so I take her in there, and I am having a blast with what used to be just a grind. It's like, you can't stop her. Every time she hits you, she gets more accurate, and she gets tougher.
Well, you're having fun because you're winning.
And not just winning, I am dominating. The fights is sort of thing, there'd be times where it's like, I have to get through 2 rounds of minions before I even fight the boss guy. I'll bring alternate costume She-Hulk. By the time she gets to the boss, he is a one-hit wonder, because that's as long as it's going to take. As soon as her turn comes up, he goes down. I don't care if it's Mephistopheles, the demon prince that gives everyone, challenges in the comic books. He gets hit twice by, She-Hulk's 2 fists, one for each, one left, one right, and he is dead. He flees the scene immediately. That's how tough she gets by that turn.
Would this have been this enjoyable for you if you hadn't had that earlier experience of, like, a bit of frustration, a bit of, like, I'm grinding,
do I really need to do this? Should I really get the rewards aren't that great. They're nice rewards.
But if they had given you She-Hulk from the beginning...
I got She-Hulk for free at level 10, but with their... At the time, she was, like, the worst character. Her and Luke Cage were considered, like, the chumps of the game.
So she got, like, the
storyline. They go with the Fear Itself storyline, but instead of taking the people that they did for the comic book, they went with different characters who get the extra hammers from, like... long story short, there's other, like, Thor-like hammers that come raining down. Whoever touches them becomes, like, possessed, but not Thor happy, good heroes. These are like, I'm gonna unbreak it. And so she becomes Skirn, the breaker of men. Not as in, like a vixen, but, breakers and men as in human. I've shattered the opponent.
Yeah, okay.
And so she got a real good power upgrade, and I'm digging her. And like, because of her costume, it's like, Luke Cage was the next person who touched the hammer, because, that's a nice way of, like, okay, which character sucks the most? Let's revamp them. There! That's the one that gets the power upgrade. Haha. And so he becomes, the breaker of worlds. I'm like, well, dang. And he's got a nice new outfit. He's looking all, badass. It's like, if if She-Hulk was this much more fun to play, and I kind of liked, Luke Cage beforehand, should I give him more of a try? Should I make the effort to get his costume? And I'm slowly whittling it through. I mean, I got so much on my plate. I try and get a little bit more done every day, a little bit more done. Mm-hmm. So I'm working my way there, but I'm trying it because, like, She-Hulk was so much fun. What if I put the 2 of them together on my team and just rock all the houses?
But yeah, well, I don't know if you had them, if you had that powerful of characters.
I do think it comes from earning it. To get her to get stronger with every punch, I had to gets the little gemstone to put on her like punch slot that makes her more powerful, that gets her hulked up. I can get her even better if I could find go through the fight to get the chance to win the proper large gem that I can put in on her, where every time she starts a round she hulks up. She could hulk up even faster and meaner.
But you do want a game to be relatively quick.
I do like the payoff
at the beginning,
though.
Like when you first start playing a game, it's got to move along at a fairly swift pace just to keep players like, okay, I'm not frustrated, I'm not just going to rage quit immediately. It gets them sort of hooked in a little bit of a habit. Like some people say 2 weeks, some people say 30 days, but if you can do the same thing for 2 weeks or 30 days, whatever, then it becomes a habit, and your body will say, oh, why am I not doing that thing that I do every day?
There's a few games on Facebook I've dropped. They were fun. My one involved like locomotives. My daughter, train. She was pointing them out, and that was kind of fun. But if she's not sitting on my lap, I ain't playing that game.
Yeah,
it's not a bad game by any stretch. It's just it's like it's not doing too much. I'm just moving things around.
Yeah. So, but then I was saying, like, after you reach that threshold of like 2 weeks or 30 days, where it sort of feels a little bit habitual, or a little bit like, yeah, this is something I do. Like, I play this game. This is I am into it. Then it can get a little bit harder. Even maybe stop you for a little while. Just be like, nope, you're done. Like you're at an impasse until either wait for points to accumulate or pay us money or something.
That's the thing is right now I could have a lot more characters leveling up, but I am just like every time I get the cash, boom, I spend it. Every time I get the points, boom, I spend them.
Yeah.
That said, after a certain point, I've been told, you get your characters leveled up, it starts accumulating. You get more points. You get a new character, you've got the points to cover. You got the money to to spend to get them leveled up as they grow. You don't have to wait.
Money, not real money.
Well, it's silver and like command points, and
which
all
you
that
can
stuff.
also buy, right? Or,
yeah.
And like you can trade real money for that money, but it's not.
I trade the real money for gold. The gold exchanges into the other currencies per set ratios.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play it for free. I mean, Playdum's doing a very good job of this. If there's one thing I wouldn't mind for, like, oh hey, like free money for a game, it would probably be this one. I've put in the hours. I've gotten the fun out of it. And I would not consider it a waste to spend some money to say thank you guys for the hours of entertainment.
Okay, yeah. And I've actually sort of said this. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I feel like the paywall is actually a useful fun wall too, because
done right. When it's too much, you're like, oh, you get very little for the cash you spend. It becomes
well, no,
it's not worth it.
What I'm saying is because for me, like, I don't wish to pay for those games. I'm like, no, I'm not giving you extra money. If given a choice, like, you can either wait or pay money, I say wait, and that's actually going to make
I'll come back tomorrow, man.
That's going to give me actually the more rewarding experience for me is to actually wait on the game and do something else or come back to it later. And that's also better for them because that gets me a little bit more in that habit rather than binging on a game, which I did with Don't Starve. It's like play hours and hours at a time and be like, oh, okay, I just have to cut this game out. Instead of that, it's like, oh, it's apportioning it off unless I want to spend money. So it's spending money. You're hurting yourself in two ways. You're spending money, losing money. You can't spend on other things. And the other thing is you're spending more time on that game that
you feel almost obligated. Because, dude, I put money into this. I should keep playing. Otherwise, I've wasted my money.
And I think it's unfortunate that like that sort of game, to me, I feel like that shouldn't be profitable at all, because the correct way to play that game would be not to spend the money. But
yeah.
I don't know. I guess some people, and maybe some people do what you're saying, is they spend a little money because they feel like, well, I've got a good product.
The amount of hours I've spent playing that Marvel game, like I have, just off the top of my head over the last couple of years. Yeah, I've played that at least as much as any $60 game on the market. So, like, if I had to say, like someone said, I'm giving you $60, but you got to spend that on a game. That you can't spend this anywhere else. You don't get any, food out of this. It's got to be purely spent for game. I would have, take it to the Marvel guys. They're the ones who have, they've earned it rather than me paying the money and then getting the fun out of it. I got my fun and say, okay, now if I get 60 spare dollars somehow, it's going towards you guys. You've given me enough entertainment off that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry about
because
that.
That's because I spent the time to build up to the point where it's not like I'm struggling. I've hit the maximum level. When I get the stuff that is power depends on your level, I'm getting the highest end possible.
Okay.
So I'm getting the rewards because I spent the time rather than saying 300 levels. I'm at level 50. It's taken me a week to get here. And apparently it takes longer the higher level you get. It's going to take me forever to get this max level. You know what? I said, I don't care whatever the level is. I could have tried power leveling up, and I would not have enjoyed it, but I'd have done it. I got energy reserves enough. I could probably have forced my way up the last 100 dang levels against my will.
Well, it's funny that...
But I just, I'll just have the fun. I'll take these assignments as they come. I'll enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah, you look at that mountain of levels, and I've done this. I've had this in a video game where it's like, oh my goodness, like I cannot imagine playing this game long enough to reach that mountain, and yet sometimes you do, and sometimes it's like, oh, I had so much fun, and sometimes it's like, oh yes, like 300 levels, this is great, I can just keep on having this exact same fun and climb and keep on climbing, and there's so much more mountain, I don't have to worry about it ending.
Well, they did put a treadmill at the top of the mountain in this case. They now have 300 plus. Anytime you gain 16,000 experience points, which is a lot in the game, you gain effectively like another level, which takes you back to 0. You get 1 gold bar, which is the high premium currency, and your energy bar fills up again. So it's a nice way of saying, hey, congratulations for keep playing. You're at maximum level, so you're not getting any more powerful for getting all this extra experience, but you've done it often enough. There you go. And with the daily rewards that they've put in, like you beat the boss person, and okay, maybe you got the chump reward. There's, oh boy, great items, and you got like, a tangler grenade. That's wonderful. Thank you. But just by beating the boss every day, you get 1,000 points. So you keep playing the day, like just over every about 2 weeks, given the experience you get for everything else, and you gain like another bar. It's their nice little reward saying, hey, you stuck it out for another 2 weeks. Here's another level. Here's a little bit more energy for you, but take some premium currency. Thanks for sticking around for another half month with us. And that's, it generates a lot of goodwill. I will say that. It's very nice.
Now, is there an equivalent, like, is there a slog involved in role-playing games, for example, or board games, for that matter?
Role-playing games, I think it might determine as to how random the treasure dice tables are being rolled. Like, if you want, like that magic item, and you don't have anyone in the party to create it, you're going to have to bust a lot of dungeons before you get decent odds at getting that item.
Just for earning XP?
Just for getting that random magic item. Like
getting a random one. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, yeah, so, it might be that...
Not crafting your magic.
No, if you don't have anyone to craft the magic item, and, you're in a campaign, most of them officially are, it's like magic items just aren't for sale at the market. They're not just like pick it off the wall, pay for it, and go. Sort of thing. Then you're going to have to adventure for that item. If you can't find, like, some sort of lead that guarantees that item's in the dungeon... Which, by the way, is a nice way to spend money on a sage. Like have them research a dungeon that references this particular style item or where you might be able to find one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you're going to have to be busting yourself through a lot of dungeons just to get that item. Yes, this totally fits my character type. Now, we were saving the world from what now? Okay, now that my paladin has the Holy Avenger, what were we doing now? So there's something like that. The earlier edition, like second edition, I can take the book out for you and I can show you just how much experience you needed to get to second level. Wizard, off the top of my head, required 2,500 experience points. A rogue only required 1,850 only. A kobold got you 7 points. A goblin got you 15. Orc got you 35. To get to level 2 in second edition, not only was it, going through a lot of dungeons, low-end dungeons, where you are very close to death, even at maximum hit points, because, welcome to 4 hit points. That's all you got, wizard. 1 lucky shot and you are dead, because 0 back then was dead. There was no negative hit point officially. And 0 is, you get hit by a particularly large turnip and you are dead. So yeah, not only did you have that peril at your backside, now that's the cliff at which you were standing on. You had to effectively commit genocide to get to level 2. So there was a bit of a slog of like churning through the kills and getting this and that just to get to your second level. So you're slightly further away from dying. Welcome to 1 day 4. Oh, congratulations! You rolled a 1. You're now 5 hit points away from death at max health. So, yeah, previous editions definitely had that. And it's still debated, I believe, as to whether or not it's a good thing that they got rid of that. On the one hand, it's like, okay, you're not like so close to death, at the beginning. You got a couple more hit points to start with, so you can take a risk adventure. Don't worry, because as it stood, if you were a first level wizard and you fell down a 10-foot ravine, let's see, it's a 1 die 6 and you've got 4 hit points. There is a 33% chance of you dying because you did 5 or 6 hit point damage. 0 is death off a 10-foot fall, which is pretty realistic. If we were to start, throwing people off the balcony here, that's not even 10 feet, but I'm pretty certain, that there would be a decent mortality rate.
Well, if you're tossing them head first, I guess, yeah. Well,
any which way, there's some significant damage, so that does make sense, and you can hurt yourself more than just head first. You fall on the side, bam, that rib that used to, help you out, being on one of the nice ribs, that's now going through your lungs. It's no longer your friend. That rib is now your enemy. Your own dang rib, buddy.
Well, I guess, how many hit points do I have?
Well, theoretically, is we're, maybe at best, a first-level commoner on that sort of mentality.
Second-level commoner.
You might have as many as 12 hit points plus Constitution modifier.
Okay, so I'd probably be fine jumping off this balcony.
You'd probably be taking some hit point loss.
Yeah,
significant.
Yeah,
significant portion of your percentage.
I'd
especially if you land on the concrete and not the grass. If you want to hit the grass, I'm going to move the couch out of the way, get you a run and start.
I suppose I could make a jump check to roll or something.
To take some dual damage, you only go to the hospital for minor injuries.
Well, what is jump? If you succeed on a jump check, you reduce the distance fallen by 10 feet, right?
Depends on what sort of systems you're going for.
Oh, yeah.
For some of them, it can be that it changes the first die 6 to subdual damage as opposed to lethal damage.
Okay, yeah.
Which seems reasonable. That said, I would succeed on an intelligence check and hop on the left, which takes me to the staircase, and then I'll just walk down to the grass. And that's the bonus of knowing which roll to make.
Yeah.
I could jump down to the grass, or I could just take a 3-foot, at most leap over to the stairs and walk down that way.
Or roll the wisdom check that says, gee, maybe I shouldn't actually jump.
Well, did you ever hear the theory that the D&D stats are placed in order of importance?
No.
Strength is at the top because it's the most important. That allows you to give a beating.
Okay.
Constitution is next there because that allows you to take a beating. Not as good as giving one, but it's pretty good. Dexterity is less important than Constitution because it allows you to avoid a beating. But if you get beat, you're going down quicker. So that's why it's less important than Constitution.
I see.
Intelligence is less important than any of that because it allows you to know when to leave before taking a beating. Wisdom is even less important than that because you can almost never convince the opponent that beating you is a foolish idea. And Charisma is the worst stat because there is no roll high enough to convince the goblins attacking you to stop beating you. It's a fair, it's just not meant to be like an authoritative thing. It's meant more tongue in cheek, but it does help you explain which way stats go in which order. So
yeah.
But let's look at some of the editions of D&D here. To go through this latest edition, that's 3 books, and they're how many pages a book? 200 pages, give or take.
Right.
So it's 600 pages of reading. Are you going to stick that out? Or are you going to say no? Maybe I'm just going to stick to the video games where all the stats and all that stuff's going on in the background. I just get to be me.
Well, in D&D, only one person out of a 5-person group technically has to read the. And even then, they don't necessarily read them cover to cover, but basically one person should be familiar with the rules, at least, sort of, give or take. Okay,
then a minimum of 200 pages, make sure you get your overview on what the heck spells are and how fighting combat and all that and items go.
Yeah. And
that does include splat books or, campaign settings where you have to read another bit, 100 pages to figure out what's going on in the world so you know what your proper part of the setting.
Yeah, but what I was saying about the grind actually being rewarding just in itself, just its own reward, in that, reading a book, a D&D book. So a lot of people, in fact, a lot of the D&D books that I own, I've never actually used even one item out of them in a game. So
I add it to my repertoire to try and increase the sum of my knowledge.
Yeah.
That's my fun, yeah.
Well, yeah, people read them for basically enjoyment, basically to have something cool that you now know, or to read something cool that someone thought of that was worth putting in a book.
Or at least give you the potential. Like, I have I'm going to say it's been about 10 years since I had a campaign in the Dragonlance setting. But, it's like, oh boy, we're playing anything we want in a 3.5 rules. I could be a Kender. I can do that. I could be a Minotaur. That's in there. I could take some of the other books. I could be that monkey shaman from the Oriental Adventures, man. I could be like, I could be a rat man. I could do all sorts of things. The options are there, and that's kind of nice too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. If it's not something to use, it's nice to have in reserves. Or, I suppose if you want to go through all the books, write down all the list of the stuff, and that way whenever you're doing like a big city sort of thing, you can roll randomly for what race of like you encounter. Ah, yes, the Merchant Keeper happens to be Henge Yokai. I think that's some sort of like Japanese dwarf? Is that... Look, give me a second to figure out which one this is here. Should have made notes. But yeah, there's always that sort of things. Add more flavor, more color to whatever you want when you're making your own.
Mm-hmm.
Or using it as guidelines when you are making your own. It's like, I want to make something that's completely different. What if I do this and this? Oh, I think this might be a nice example here, so I'll reference this race to determine guidelines as to power level and ability. I made my own.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah.
So in which case, all these splat books I have on my shelf, is that like... rather than sticking with it, because I think I might use it sometime, it's reserved, potential. It's just like the gaming equivalent of like potential energy.
I guess it's your currency, and you just haven't spent it yet.
Then I'm a rich man indeed, judging by my amount of books. I'm a very rich man. All right. Yeah. So that's not bad. But yeah, when it comes back down to it, though, is like what criteria, though, do you use to determine whether or not you're going to say, okay, no, I'm not going to use this book. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to, toss it over on like a used Victoria or eBay or whatnot. Or what series do you say, like, okay, no?
What criteria do I have before selling a book? Well, now my current criteria is if I have more than one copy of it, I'll sell the second
you're doing
copy.
The librarian style. Make sure you've got at least one copy of everything.
But I realize that, at some point I may actually want to downsize my library, and I haven't figured out like what's probably just the books that if I've already read it and sort of feel like I've got what I need out of it.
Some books have a lot of sentimental value. I notice you have the Lord of the Rings books on the shelf, and it'd be kind of hard to say goodbye to those, right?
I think so.
But in the backs, there's the whole appendices and the whole language stuff. Oh, that might be useful.
But actually, well, for me, Lord of the Rings I could get rid of, because you can always buy Lord of the Rings again. Some of the harder ones to get rid of would be like just...
The out of print, the more obscure?
Slightly more out of print. Like, I have some Conan books that I don't know if I could find again. You can probably find them in a used bookstore somewhere.
I've got the complete Chronicles of Conan, everything in order. It's a big, thick book, but it's like, ooh, classic style. I got to make room for it on my bookshelf when I'm done reading it eventually.
But yeah, I have copies of like the Harry Potters and your like really blockbuster.
You have the Harry Potter book?
Well, I have 2 or 3. I think I have 3 of them.
I might need to borrow some off you.
Sure, yeah.
I still haven't seen the final one because I said, you know what? No, before it's all said and done, I actually want to read the darn books.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I just haven't been able to make it to the library often enough to make that a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't like. I'll just get rid of those ones because I know that they're always going to be around.
They will exist in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Whereas, like my old Ravenloft books, I am very hesitant to let them go because they are out of print and getting more obscure with each passing year as the number dwindles. But then I guess the next question, though, is what should be prominent and what should be sort of on a back shelf or like some shelves. I keep it in my storage room. Yeah, in a store, even in a box somewhere. And I don't. I mean, I guess it's sort of
just what do you call it? Subjective, just sort of.
Or maybe it's dependent on exactly how good you are at cataloging everything. It's like, I would put these in like a storage box, but I mean, if I don't write them down and have that taped to the side of the box, I am never gonna find this book again. It will be lost like the Ark of the Covenant at the end of the Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, just like there, it is gone, man. It is gone.
But I mean, so many like I keep piling books. This might be a good conversation for me to have, because it might be like intervention time or something. Because I keep piling books onto my current plate. I will every once
You're preaching to the choir there, man.
I basically, my bedside table sort of accumulates a stack of books, and every couple of months, basically, I have to say, okay, this whole stack, I haven't, I've got a chapter in each book, and I haven't actually, they're all sort of current reading, but I have to put them back on the shelves, because I'm not, and then usually as I'm looking through that stack, I'll be like, oh, okay, I gotta read another chapter of this one.
So then maybe it would be better off if then instead of just figuring whether to cut bait, is you have to change your lifestyle a little bit. Like, okay, no, I'm gonna go to bed an hour early. I'm gonna set an alarm. I have an alarm to wake me up. I've got an alarm to get me going back to bed. And by then, I spend like an hour reading, sort of thing, just to help tire me out and keep me away from the electronics, which apparently give you a harder time getting to sleep.
Yeah, I hear that.
So maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's not just about whether or not to cut or keep for it. Maybe it's like, do I change myself to make sure I can accommodate it? Because I mean, right now I'm taking every Tuesday I got to take 2 hours out of my life. I to sit down and watch The Flash and sometimes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., sometimes the Agent Carter stuff.
Well, it's that our modern world is like, well, I really can just put this off to the side, and it's still going to be on Netflix, or it's still going to be on
And that's
whatever.
One thing. I mean, I've got season 2 of Samurai Jack. I can watch that any time. I haven't gotten around to it because I can watch it any time. Yeah. I'll just delay it. Maybe later. Maybe next week. Okay, whenever I can get around to it. And then it grows just because I can do it at any time. I don't do it at any time.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting inversion of the thing. So I'm going to have to start looking at the stuff and say, should I cut, or should I keep? Versus, okay, well, maybe I should take more time out. Maybe I should, go to... The Escapist usually has a nice review. Movie Bob, it does a nice review for, what was going on for every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So maybe if I'm, this season's really not getting my interest, maybe I should go in there and maybe, I just didn't get enough of these background references. That's what I need. Oh, that all comes into play. That's very well done. I enjoyed that episode now that I know that key thing that made it extra awesome.
Yeah.
I got to change me about it.
Yeah.
Dig it.
Maybe. I don't know if I don't know if that answer is a good one or.
Well, it's a nice way of double checking. It's just like, is it or is it me? Maybe I don't have the time for it for myself, and it's like, oh, I'd like it, but I can't watch it because I've got too much else on my plate.
Yeah.
I don't want to make this like a buffet plate where it's piled up high. That would be the equivalent of losing a lot of sleep to get everything in. So I like that as a concept. Although I do believe it's always a good practice to say, why am I still doing this? Do I change things up to make this difference in my life? So I got a lot on my plate. I could be doing a lot more. I could cut out the Minecraft to go play some other stuff and do a lot more reading. As I said earlier, I got 20,000 pages I could read. You give me enough candles and cut the internet, and I will still be okay. You can cut the powers, give me the candles, sort of thing, and I will
just read during the daylight hours.
Well, I got work to do in the daylight hours. Okay, I got to burn the midnight candles, sort of thing. But yeah, you give me the quiet time to read and remove the distractions. I could whittle that down pretty down. I'm not a slow reader. I can whittle it down pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot on my plate I have to get rid of first. I got online games. I got digital stuff to go through. I got things to listen to while I'm playing those games now.
I guess, we could talk about skipping ahead, because sometimes I do that with books too. Like I won't read through a whole book, but I will sort of start each chapter and be like, get a sort of feel for where the chapter's going, and then next chapter. I'm
a dedicated person, sort of thing. If I'm going this, I'm going to read the first chapter fully, man. I don't want to miss a beat, for fear that the one page I missed has that would explain everything. I would have seen this person was the villain chapters ago. So So yeah, I mean that's why I like when I'm watching a TV series, I really like to watch everything in sequential order, just in case it's like, oh, that made no sense. It's like, oh, suddenly it does because I got that episode that I would have missed. Whoops, bad on me.
I suppose like this is a good thing to keep in mind too as a potential writer or designer. Like if you're creating an experience, either a video game or maybe a TV show. TV shows are a good example because they are serialized. And you have to write a TV show sort of with the assumption that your listeners aren't going to be as diligent as you are necessarily in watching every single episode in order. And you sort of have to design it with like, oh, okay, people are going to, miss
drop
episodes,
in and drop off
and
sort of thing. Like
yeah.
X-Files was a nice example of that one. Their mix of like standalone episodes versus the continuity across the seasons and the big plot lines going on. If you missed one of those big plot line ones, well, it's like, whoa, wait, what do you mean Fox Mulder's, sister's alive, but she melted? What was going on? What did I miss, dang it? Whereas it's like, oh, what did I miss last week? Monster of the Week? Okay. I'll catch that in the reruns. It's okay. I don't need to hunt down the episode. I don't need to find a spot to stream it. It's all okay.
Yeah, but I wonder too, like if television is going more in the Game of Thrones HBO miniseries direction, with it's very much more, it's all part of the story, and sort of like basically a film cut into TV, like hour-long segment, or 45-minute, I should say, segments, or 50-minute. I'm not sure how HBO, how long they do in theirs.
We'll call it 45.
Yeah, something like that.
You got your opening credits and all that stuff to deal with, and then your panoramic scene stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's an interesting way of thinking about it, too, because I believe for TV series you can break it down into the standard style and versus, like, the episodic movie style.
Although, you know what style actually interests me at the moment is more the web series style with the 10-minute episodes. Your standard action, which, Gotacon, once again, standard action's going to be there. Shout out, I guess. I don't know what. Yeah,
it makes it easy. It's almost like a popcorn or snack sort of thing. It's like, 10 minutes and I'll go watch. I'll just watch another episode.
Yeah, you're Dr. Horrible. You're The Guild. Your Henry's Campaign coming soon.
Oh, the Moon Quest sort of thing is I've been watching.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they go up to 20-25 minutes, but a lot of them are down to around the 10-minute mark. Sometimes that's all you can stand to them. It's like, no, you're done. Well, you just missed it. Oh, you guys. You crashed another space vehicle, or you missed the stuff. It was right in front of your eyes, so why did you have to redo all that work? It was right there. You have just scanned and missed it.
And that's funny, too, because if you add up all the Yogscast different members' channels and all their videos, you couldn't watch all that in a lifetime. Like, they have enough... Well, maybe you could, actually. I don't know.
You'd have to dedicate a lot of time to get caught up and then keep up on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of content. And so it's almost by nature, like, it's pretty much impossible to be the guy who follows religiously
the biggest fan,
yeah. Although I imagine, like... Well, depending, maybe because they do different series, and so there's this series, and someone could follow the entire series. Yeah.
I know I've stuck it out with the Moon Quest long enough. I'm going to keep going, despite how frustrated I'm getting at them constantly crashing their vehicles into the moon.
Yeah.
It says hold spacebar, not spam spacebar, so please hold the spacebar so you don't crash. Oh, you're dead now. You guys.
Yeah.
Give me the dang model. Play it myself.
So we already did email address, the simulation.
Yeah, final verdicts though?
Final verdict on...
I don't think there is any hardline criteria for whether or not you should consider whether or not to keep on or stop doing something. Ultimately, it comes down to you.
Yeah, and it's not as simple as just quitting something because it's not fun at the moment. Although that's a good reason to quit. But that's not necessarily, like...
I'm just waiting for the next special ops to come on, man. I don't care about this PvP stuff. I'm just waiting for it to come on, so... Bring on the special event.
Yeah, I guess it's just a judgment call to say whether you want to stick with something. If it doesn't feel fun at the time, but yet you expect... in the future, this to pay off.
I really like it when these things happen. I really want the story to progress, but right now I'm up at the cutting edge of the storyline, so there's nothing for me to do until they release new content.
I guess the other thing
or
about
the next book in the series.
Yeah, but the other thing about, like, with your Thaumcraft is almost like you're playing a very extended tutorial, right?
Trust me, there's very little tutorial about that. That had a heck of a cliff to climb to make it. But that's it. I mean, it didn't take away. I could keep playing the game as I've always played it. All it would do effectively is give me some little extra decorations to put up there. And, like when I kill an enemy, some extra little motes of color come out. That's about all it would do otherwise. So it didn't hurt me to continue playing Minecraft with that there. And so, I mean, and that works under the no harm, no foul thing. So why did I keep it, until, like, oh, hey, I'm going to give this a it's clicking in my head, it's all coming in, yes, I'm having fun. Yeah. So it didn't hurt to not have it,
Yeah.
So, maybe consider things just on that regard. It's like how much time is this really taking out, just to do the daily maintenance of constantly logging into the Facebook game? It's only 5 minutes to do, man. It's not that bad. I can afford 5 minutes out of my life. It's not killing me on that. I'm not losing hours of sleep a night to play this darn thing.
Yeah, and it gives back in its own way too. Like it's not 5 minutes wasted. Because if you add up 5 minutes a day, it's like at the end of your life, oh, you spent 1 year clicking on this Facebook thing. But it did.
I'm pretty certain you'd spend more time waiting around on the toilet, sort of thing.
Well, there's other things that you have to spend, like years. And sleeping. I mean, if we could figure out how to not have to sleep.
I don't know, because I kind of really like that part where you wake up. It's like when you wake up a little bit before your alarm's like, I got a half hour before the alarm goes off. I could get up now and be extra productive, or I could just luxuriously lounge on the bed until I'm needed, or the alarm clock goes off. I could just do nothing. Oh, that feels so good. And trust me, speaking as a father, the ability just to lay back and do nothing for even 10 minutes sometimes is just a divinity. So I think there's some nice extra benefits to sleep. Plus, I mean, like, if I didn't sleep, my daughter would never sleep, and it's like, sometimes sleep, when she sleeps, is the only time I'm able to really get things done. So, okay, she's asleep. Quick, you go do this, I'll clean up the living room. Rah, let's go. Tag team, parenting, go.
She can't help you. She's 2 years. She should be able to handle a dish, right?
Well, she can't handle dishes. We are trying to get her to do proper cleanup.
Yeah.
That
get
said,
early.
Yeah. That said, it's a lot easier for us just to have her go to sleep. Okay, go to sleep a little early. Have a nap. And then, bam, I'm getting things done. I'm doing this. I'm logging on. I'm doing my 5-minute maintenance when she's sleeping. So it's like, okay, there we go. Now that's all done. She can wake up. I can play with her. There's nothing else on my schedule. Nothing else piling up on my plate. There.
Well.
So yeah, there are benefits to those little things like sleep.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, figure this. You got a big deadline looming. You got to get this stuff done. This is going to count for a year in school. This is going to count for 20% of your final grade. This is going to matter between like you keeping your scholarship or you not being able to make it next semester. But you know what? It's 3 a.m. No reasonable person can expect you to be up there typing. You still got a little bit of time. You need your sleep to give a quality product. Just relax. Stress away. This is your time to just not worry. It's 3 a.m. Just relax. Just sleep. This sleep. Oh, that's good. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits depending how you look at it. Cool. Speaking of depending on how you look at it, I think that might be an interesting criteria for everyone this week is take a look at some of the stuff you have dropped. Some stuff, I used to do that every day. I used to just play that game. I used to do the Tamagotchi every darn day. I used to do all that. I used to go to this website every day. But and then ask yourself, why did you stop? What was that final mark? What stopped you from going in every day, going in every week? What got you to change the thing? What changed about you? What changed about it? Did you just not have enough time? Something had to be cut? Or was it just like... It used to be fun to read the stuff on the joke website, but now it's just kind of tired. It wasn't as good anymore. The quality declined. And maybe, I said, okay, quality declined. That's one of my reasons to stop something. And so make a short list for yourself. Like, these are the things that caused me to stop pursuing an activity on a regular basis. Learn from that. See what matters to you. Even if you're not consciously making this, it's just... It wasn't kind of funny anymore, so I just stopped listening to the comedy hour on TV. I just like the musician stuff. The latest album, it it just seemed angry to me. Every song was angry, and I just didn't want to keep hearing angry songs. Find out what caused you to move away from that.
Now that you're talking about it, there was there's definitely websites that I've stopped checking. Sometimes it's just because nothing updates. Like they just sort of die. It's like might be a message board that sort of just people gradually
trickle away.
Yeah, and nobody else is there, so I don't go there. But also like on Reddit, like there are subreddits which I'll subscribe or unsubscribe, and like there's this one of the top subreddits on Reddit is advice animals, and I think some of them are super funny, like, and they do really well. But then I just couldn't handle like getting the stupid ones that would come up on my front page.
And the stupid ones seem to repeat. For some reason, stupidity repeats. Genius is a unique experience. That bit where everything comes together, that's like a unique point. Stupidity is a repetitious thing. I don't know why that happens.
Yeah, and Reddit has a weird relationship with repeats because people... Reddit is...
Well, it's so big that you can
site.
get away with some repeats.
Yeah, it's
not
a large
everyone
site,
sees
so
it.
some people haven't seen the thing. But at the same time, a lot of people are like, this is a repeat, and I'm so mad. And
you reposted this 8 months ago, man. This is the third time I've seen it in a year and a half. It's like, well, it's actually not that bad,
but
it's such a large site.
Yeah, most moderators on the various subreddits will be, reposts are allowed as long as it's not just constantly, because we recognize that we're large and we have a lot of different people who... And the stuff falls off the front page fairly quickly, too. So
I have noticed that, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so you... okay.
I spent some time there peeking in. It's not exactly my thing, but it does serve very many useful purposes, so...
I have a love-hate relationship with Reddit, so...
A lot of people do, apparently.
I think everybody did. Maybe that's the problem.
But, so that's I guess your little task is discover more about yourself by figuring what did I used to do all the time and why did I stop doing that.
Yep. Cool.
All right. So, yes, everyone out there...
That's a podcast. Thanks for listening. I've been Joshua Levin.
That's my daughter in the background having fun. I have to go away and be a father now, so we'll hear from you in 7 days.
Send money.